I was doing laundry when I found it. A neatly folded envelope tucked inside the inner pocket of my boyfriend Ethan's jacket, cream-colored paper, elegant handwriting. My stomach tightened before I even opened it. The front didn't say my name, it said, "To the woman who deserved the truth." My first thought was that it wasn't meant for me at all. My second thought was that maybe I wasn't supposed to find it, but I opened it anyway. Inside was a letter written in Ethan's handwriting, a long, emotional goodbye, except the words didn't match our relationship at all. He wrote things like, "I'm sorry for disappearing when you needed me. I'm sorry for breaking a promise I should have kept. I'm ready to let you go now. I hope you find the man I failed to be." None of that was meant for me. We hadn't fought, he hadn't disappeared, he hadn't broken any promise, at least not one I knew about. And then came the line that froze me completely. "I loved you long before I met her." Me, he was writing to another woman. I sank onto the floor, the letter shaking in my hands. Was he leaving me? Was he ending something else? Was I the second choice? Ethan came home minutes later, humming, completely unaware that my world had shifted sideways. "Hey," he said, bending down to kiss me. "Everything okay?" I held out the letter. His entire body went still. "Where did you get that?" he whispered. "In your jacket," I said. "Who is this for?" He ran a hand over his face, eyes closing like he'd been caught in a nightmare he created. "It's not what you think. But that line never means anything good." He sat beside me and took a breath. "The letter was for someone I planned on seeing before I met you. Someone I loved for years. She cut me out of her life without warning and never told me why. I couldn't move on, not really." I felt my throat tight. "So you're still in love with her?" I asked. "No," he said quickly. "But I never got closure. I wrote that letter the day before our first date. I was going to send it, but then I met you, and I didn't need to say goodbye anymore. I thought I'd thrown it away." I stared at him, trying to decide if that explanation made things better or worse. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "Because I didn't want to drag old love into something new. And I didn't want you to think you were a replacement. You weren't." The letter sat between us like a living thing, a ghost from a life I never knew existed. "I burned it once," he said quietly. "Guess I missed the copy I shoved in my jacket." He took my hands. "You're the one I chose, the one I stayed for, the one I love. That letter was the goodbye I never needed to send." I didn't answer immediately. I needed honesty, not romance. "Do you want her back?" I asked. He shook his head instantly. "No, but finding that letter probably made you wonder if you were enough, so let me say this clearly, you're more than enough. You're everything." I believed him not because he said the right words, but because his face looked like someone terrified of losing something real. Later that night, we walked outside and I lit the letter with a match. Ethan stood beside me until the last ember faded. "Goodbye to old ghosts," he said. "Maybe the letter wasn't meant for me, but the future he wanted to build, that was."